President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Tuesday received Mr. Simbarashe Mombene-Gegwe, the special envoy for Zimbabwe's president. The meeting was attended by CEO of the African Institution of Knowledge, Kwame Mazazawi, and Zimbabwe's ambassador to Cairo, Shiba Shobia-Wanda. Presidential spokesperson said that President al-Sisi conveyed his greetings to his counterpart, Emerson Mnangagwa, stressing Egypt's keenness on boosting its relations with Zimbabwe, especially in the fields of commerce and investments. The head of state also pointed to Egypt's keenness on enhancing coordination and consultation with Zimbabwe in issues related to boosting mechanisms of African joint cooperation in a way that contributes in achieving stability and development in the continent. For his part, the Zimbabwean high-level official submitted a letter from President Mnangagwa to President al-Sisi, in which he stressed his country's keenness on boosting bilateral relations on various levels. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met on Tuesday with Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, Presidential Aide for Strategic and National Projects Engineer Sharif Ismail, Minister of Planning and Economic Development Hala Saeed, Minister of Finance Mohammed Maid, and Minister of Youth and Sports Ashraf Subhi, Presidential Advisor for Urban Planning General Amir Saeed Ahmed, Presidential Advisor for Financial Affairs General Mohammed Amin, and Head of the Armed Forces Engineering Authority General Ihab al-Far. Presidential spokesperson said the meeting tackled the construction situation of Egypt's international city for Olympic Games in the new administrative capital. The president was briefed on the work stages of the Olympic City, which includes different sports facilities built in accordance with the highest international standards. The head of state directed to finish the construction works in the city according to schedule. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met on Tuesday with General Amir Saeed Ahmed, Presidential Advisor for Urban Planning, and Major General Ihab al-Far, Head of the Engineering Authority of the Armed Forces. Presidential spokesman Ambassador Bassam Radi said President al-Sisi was briefed on the developments of the giant national project for agricultural production, the New Delta. The project aims at increasing the agricultural area in Egypt along the Daba axis, as it includes within its scope several pivotal projects for agricultural developments, including Egypt's Future Project. The President directed to continue strengthening agricultural reclamation efforts in the New Delta project and the subsequent establishment of extended urban communities, which would achieve the state's goals in its seek to establish new comprehensive development center by achieving horizontal expansion away from overcrowded areas. Grand Mufti of Egypt, Dr. Shawi Alem, said black terrorism as a result of religious extremism and tampering with the methodological basis of Islam. Alem was speaking during the inauguration of the first international conference of the Salam or Peace Center for Extremism Studies, being held under the auspices of the Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli. Alem said the idea behind holding the event is to unify the stance of the national and international organizations over renouncing extremism. He said the conference aims to resume efforts to clarify the true image of Islam. Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri, the appointed president of the next UN Climate Change Conference COP27, arrived to Germany to take part in the 56th session of the meetings of the subgroups of COP27 in the city of Bonn. Shukri is to sign a deal over Egypt's hosting of the next COP27 conference in November on the sidelines of the meetings. Shukri met Patricia Espinosa, Executive Secretary of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, as well as a number of figures and senior officials working in the climate field, as well as senior officials of various geographical groups and states, in addition to representatives of civil society circles accredited by COP27. CEO of the Egyptian company for satellites, Ahmed Anis, said all preparations to launch the new Egyptian satellite, Nilesat 301, has been finalized. He said Nilesat 301 will be launched Wednesday, 11:03 Cairo local time, on the Falcon 9 satellite of the US SpaceX company. And he said the new satellite replaces Nilesat 201, which expires in 2028. It has many advanced technological properties, enabling it to keep its place in the broadcast region. He said Nilesat 301 will include 38 satellite channels, up from the 26 channels of Nilesat 201, and will have a broader coverage area that will include South African and Nile Basin states. The Police Academy received on Monday a delegation of members of the first Forum of Youth and Media Leaders, which is organized by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. The Academy briefs the delegation on its role in qualifying its students. The visit comes in the framework of asserting continuous contact and cooperation among the youth. Egypt is stepping up its efforts to increase the country's self-sustainability of staple food as the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict has put it on the verge of a food crisis.
Egypt is a major importer of food. Most of the country's wheat imports come from Russia and Ukraine, and as well its vegetable oil needs, 70% of which come from the two countries. The Russian-Ukraine conflict shocked the global supply of strategic food items, making Egypt vulnerable, but luckily the COVID-19 pandemic has made the country increase its reserves. Now it's trying to diversify its sources of food supplies. Bread is the #1 item on Egypt's staple food programs, where bread subsidies cost the government some $3.3 billion. The average wheat consumption in Egypt is 180 kilograms per capita, while the world average is 80 kilograms. Egypt has secured its needs of the strategic grain for now, and Egypt is planning to increase its wheat production to cover up to 65% of its needs next year. The Minister of Planning, Hala Said, said that Egypt is a big country, and especially with a big population of 103 million, so it is important that the increase of the area of agriculture for cultivated land. The minister added that Egypt aims to increase by 1.5 million fidans. This is an increase in horizontal space, and Egypt is also working on the vertical side in terms of enhancing and innovating new ways and new methods of irrigation in order to increase the amount of crops that are cultivated from this land. Combined with the advanced irrigation techniques and the expansion in wheat cultivation land, are expected to increase production by 9 million tons, up to 14 million tons in 2023. The current food crisis is coupled with a spike of oil prices and the economic repercussions of the COVID-19 pandemic. Last month, Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli said the economic impact of the Russia-Ukraine conflict is the worst in decades. This week, the Middle East office of the World Food Programme said it is the worst crisis since World War II.